Hi Capricorn, welcome to your mid-January 2022 general tarot reading. It's Raina here. You're the first sign that I'm trying out my new deck called Cosmic Slumber Tarot. And this is, you can see the back of the cards. Aren't they beautiful? I love the lavender rim or edge. I think that's so pretty with the orange. And it's interesting because the first card I got was the universe. And I'm like, okay, which one is that? Is that the world card? Yeah, I mean, I guess it is because I haven't used it. Sometimes a deck will have other names for certain cards. And if I'm not familiar with it, then I'm going to have to look that up. But when I looked on Amazon, I noticed some of the artwork, and it just grabbed me because I love color so much. So this is really going to be one of my favorite decks, I can tell. And, oh, I don't know if you can see. This is a death card, and it's so, I don't know if I can do that. And it's so colorful. Instead of just being black and somber, there's like a joyous quality to it. 9 of Torches, that's wands. Okay, that's what I have. We're going to put these to the side before I begin. And this is I found this when I was cleaning. That's selenite, I think, yeah. And that's really cool. I found it in a little box. So the heart of the matter is the universe, which number 21, it's a world card. And this is the last card of the major arcana. So it is that card of kind of the closure. Let me see if they have anything in particular with some of these images. I don't know how to interpret it just by the imagery, but the world card can be, or as they put it, the universe is, in some cases, it can even be travel. It can be kind of that sense of going beyond where you are right now, that expansion, although that's not a word that I would typically associate with the universe. I would associate more of wrapping up loose ends. And so in January, there might be something, even though, you just had a new moon here. Oh, yeah, there's going to be a full moon, and that is associated with endings. And this is going to be in your opposite sign of Cancer. And this is on the 17th. I don't know if it's the 17th everywhere, but I think where I live, it's on the 17th, around the 17th. And it's going to be at one of the later degrees of Cancer, about 27 or 28 degrees, close to 28 degrees of Cancer. So this might be some kind of ending with a relationship even, but, like a serious relationship. But I just want to say that if that's the case, it's not coming out of the blue. It's something that it was an ongoing thing. And these kinds of markers of time, they can feel very unsettling or maybe sad in some cases, but they are milestones. And if you look at it that way, it can be a lot more accepted rather than something unwanted, especially if you didn't initiate something that is coming to an end. And it could be, in the Rider-Waite deck, they show the, like the woman with the diplomas in her hand. So, it could be like a literal graduation, some kind of like I said, like a milestone that you're finishing one thing and that'll open doors to something else. In the past position, we have the Temperance card, and this is a card associated with Sagittarius. And Sagittarius for Capricorns is the 12th house. So that can be, and I always associate temperance with, sobriety. And the 12th house is about addiction. So maybe some of you are beginning to like let go of a bad habit or something like that, or a bad relationship. And maybe that's, yeah, a bad relationship if it's involving divorce or moving out or something like that. And the Temperance card is also about balancing the spiritual with the practical. And of course, Capricorn being an earth sign has that, the earth element down pat. But the spiritual thing, it's not that you're incapable of it, because you're a winter earth sign. You're a wise, you're the last earth sign. So you hold a lot of wisdom, but sometimes you can get bogged down in 3D reality and be quite caught up in the world. And that can include the striving for success. And so maybe something, if the universe card indicates that you have, maybe you've put in your resignation, or you're retiring and you can't identify with that job anymore. Maybe you got let go at work and you're trying to come to terms with it. There's a phrase I hear bandied about lately: ego death. And that's the kind of things where people are relying on certain outer circumstances to define themselves, and then they find that they can't do that anymore. And it can feel very discombobulating. It can feel like you're a ghost, in a sense, like you don't exist because you've been taken out of a certain world. I remember that happened to me, not with a particular job, but something else similar to that. And I felt kind of unplugged from that reality. And now I realize I was unplugging from the matrix. And so it has been an enriching experience, whereas at the beginning, it felt like I was just out of the loop. So don't think that because you're having a particular feeling along those lines that it means that you're going to always feel that way. The higher message is the Five of Swords. This is a card, and I'm getting used to these cards. Oh, isn't that interesting? They have Saturn there, your ruler. And I think the reason they have Saturn here is because there is, with this card, that sense of perhaps something, maybe something is you're feeling this being blocked from something. Five of Swords can indicate some kind of, smear campaign against you, deceitful behavior against you. And it's funny, in this particular deck, they only show two people, but usually in the classic deck, the Rider-Waite deck, they show a lot of a few people in the background. And that's, I always associate with coworkers. So Five of Swords as a spiritual meaning is that, to me, is that maybe you didn't really realize what you were dealing with in your environment, and you thought you were kind of lulled into this false reality, and it's like if something came to an end, you had to face it. But it's really, ultimately, it can be the end of an illusion. And that can be very liberating, because you don't want to be. If you are dealing with a lot of snakes in the grass, then it's good to know that you're dealing with snakes. Even though it feels like a betrayal, it can feel like just that it's kind of like disillusion. Is that the word, disillusioning? a sense of disillusionment because you thought something was other than it really is, but it can be liberating. What crosses you is the King of Torches, which is the King of Wands. And this can be a man who might be in a position of authority. Usually, I associate kings with bosses and fathers. And with wands, this can be like a petty tyrant, somebody who throws his weight around, a bully, because the fire energy is very aggressive when it's, in the challenge mode. When it's not in challenging mode, it's not power used wisely. It's power used or abused. And so this kind of situation, if this is I always think of kings and queens in the reversed or challenge role as narcissists, and they need to have that control. So they're operating with a very how can I put it, it's almost like a desperation, I would say, where they don't really feel powerful, so they're very grasping about it. And because of that, you may have always thought that they were very powerful, but as you begin to observe them more and more, you see how weak they really are. And I was just thinking about that yesterday. I was thinking about, how certain people lose that potency because it's based on false things. They're trying to control people that they shouldn't be doing. The abuse of power, parents towards their children. And one day their child is going to grow up, and that child is not going to be able, not going to have to be forced to do their bidding or obey them. So it's a very puny type of power to abuse, to exert your will over children in that way. And so if this is something that you have dealt with from childhood, then you may see the pattern. You may see that this keeps repeating itself, and you can stop that, because I do believe that we keep experiencing things until we can see how it has been adversely affecting us. And so maybe you have picked partners that remind you of your father, or that maybe it's not that if it's something bad about your father, like being a bully or something, it's more like being familiar, but not something you necessarily like. And now you can reflect on that and say, oh yeah, I'm getting divorced from my father, basically. Or I'm leaving this job, I'm quitting this job from my father, who happens to be my boss now. What is coming in is the Death card. Wow. Here we have the Death and the universe, or I'll call it the world, because that's more understandable. I just love how colorful it is. Behold a pale horse. But in any case, it looks like a sword. Even Death has a sword. And to me, the sword is a sword of truth, and cutting through illusion. And death is the great equalizer. And I'm talking about physical death, but of course, this doesn't have to be physical death. This can be transformation, and it can be endings, and endings signal transformation. So here's another card, Capricorn, to show that you are going through a transition in your life. And you probably already know this, because you know that you've had so many major transits through Capricorn. Oh yeah, and Mercury is retrograding mid-month, and it's going to go back into your sign too. So that will give you more to ruminate over or reflect on. Embracing change, not clinging to the past, I think is the best way to focus on the Death card. Not being afraid of endings and realizing that they are going to open new doors for you. And the outcome is the 9 of Wands. And this card is all about boundaries. You see, it's kind of like a fence that has been erected with those wands. And the other thing about this card is that it can be that you will have to, you might have this King of Wands come back, try to make another stand. And you have to be prepared, not only with setting boundaries, but just within yourself psychologically of knowing, okay, this person isn't going to go gently into that good night, as Dylan Thomas would say, but he might lay low for a little while and then he doubles back again. So I have to be, ready with what I'm going to do. What is my strategy going to be? And I have to stand my ground. Standing your ground is more 7 of Wands. 9 of Wands is more anticipating that you have to deal with the situation. The number 9 is the number of the light worker. And Wands are the fire energy. And it's all about that passion, but also that individuality. And those of us who are drawn to the tarot and astrology are most likely empaths and light workers in our own ways. And we have to be very protective, not in a fear-based way, but in a warrior-like manner, that we are going to protect our right to autonomy, meaning that we have the right to our ideas, we have a right to our choices, and nobody, not even a boss or a parent or a spouse, can ultimately override that. And so stand in your sovereignty, and in this mid-month period, when you're experiencing that full moon in your opposite house, that can really highlight one-on-one relationships. Okay, that's what I have for you, Capricorn. Happy birthday. Also, if you would like a private reading, I do a lot of astrology readings. I don't know if you can tell, because I'm always talking about astrology in my tarot readings. You can find out more about my offerings at the link below. Take care. Bye.